Welcome to the Woke Conservative Podcast, where we are woke to the social injustices and rampant racism of the left. I'm your host, Woke Conservative, and this is the Constitution Series, Part 9, a series where we take an in-depth examination of the Constitution from start to finish. If you have not listened to the previous parts of this series, I recommend you do that first. I will put a link for them down below. Today we will examine all of Article 3, which covers the judicial system. Before we begin, please give a like, follow, and share. And if you are so inclined to help support my work, the link to my Patreon is in the description. Article 3, Section 1. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges, both of the Supreme and inferior courts, shall hold their offices during good behavior and shall, at stated times, receive for their services a compensation, which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. So we see Article 3 starts off by setting up the federal court system. And we also see the repeating of the fact that Congress is the one who's going to set up these inferior court that we read about when we were talking about Congress. Also, another theme that we keep going over now is people getting paid or a compensation. We always see that it always says that it can't be diminished while they're in office. So those are just a couple points. Article 3, Section 2. Judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States, and treaties made or which shall be made under their authority, to all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and councils, to all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversies to which the United States shall be a party, to controversies between two or more states, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of a different state, between citizens of the same state claiming lands under grant of different states, and between a state or the citizens thereof, and foreign states, citizens, or subjects. In Clause 1 of Section 2, we see that the founders are setting up what cases would fall under the judicial system. Also, two parts of this was modified in 1975 with the 11th Amendment, which states, the judicial power of the United States shall not be construed to extend to any suit in law or equity commenced or prosecuted against one of the United States by citizens of another state, or by citizens or subjects of any foreign state. This brings into play sovereign immunity, making it that cases pertaining to a state being sued by a citizen of another state or country is not a federal court issue. But we'll cover more of that when we get to Amendment 11. In all cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and councils, and those in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. In all other cases before mentioned, the Supreme Court shall have appellate jurisdiction both as to law and fact, with such exceptions and under such regulations as the Congress shall make. Now they discuss what qualifies for a case for the Supreme Court. And with that, all other case types will start lower down the line and can work up to the Supreme Court if need be. The trial of all crimes, except in cases of impeachment, shall be by jury, and such trial shall be held in the state where the said crimes shall have been committed. But when not committed within any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. This last clause of Section 2 is very straightforward. Every criminal case, but those of impeachment, shall have a jury, and the trial will commence in the state that the crime was supposedly done in. And if it was not done in any state, then the Congress will choose the place for the trial. And if you remember correctly, when we were learning about impeachment beforehand, it talked about how the jury in an impeachment would be the Senate. So that's why impeachments don't get a normal jury like they're talking about here. Article 3, Section 3. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them or in adhering to the enemies, giving them aid and comfort. No person shall be convicted of treason unless, on the testimony of 2 witnesses to the same overt act, or on confession in open court. It is interesting that treason is the only crime clearly defined in the Constitution, and it is a crime if you help the enemy of the United States by the giving of classified information and aiding them in any way. It does not necessarily mean that to be convicted of treason, you actually have to pick up a weapon and fight U.S. forces. And the only way that you can be convicted of it is if by 2 witnesses to the event or by your own admission. The Congress shall have power to declare the punishment of treason, but no attainder of treason shall work corruption of blood or forfeiture except during the life of the person attainted. I feel like this last clause of Article 3, Section 3 is very important and was added as a deliberate step away from English rule. Here we see attainder again, which means that you can't punish a person or persons without due process. And in this case, it's talked about the family of somebody convicted of treason. They shall not be guilty simply because they are related to the one found guilty of treason. And if there may be a case against the family as well, you can't find them guilty without due process. So I really feel like that's a really important breaking point from England. I know we've already obviously broke from England at this point, but it's one of those definitive moments where they state, the founders state, that we are not England. This is maybe how it was done there, but it will not be done here. That concludes the Constitution for today. Tomorrow, we will start Article 4. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to leave a like, comment, and share the podcast. And if you would like to support my work, the link for my Patreon is in the description. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.